Today, I would like to share with you a story about a small rubber farmer from the island of Sumatra, Indonesia. His name is Sucipto. Sucipto owns a small plot of rubber around his house, and he taps his rubber trees from 4 a.m. in the morning. By the end of the day, he sells his rubbers to a local trader for a value far below the market price. Many people do not know that their car tires are made from raw rubber materials gathered or produced by small farmers like Sucipto in Southeast Asia. Up to today, the role of natural rubber is irreplaceable by any synthetic materials. A passenger car's tires, for example, are 45% of natural rubber, while the airplane tires are 80% of natural rubber. However, the role of natural rubber in supporting our modern civilizations is often invisible, from war machines, mattresses in your bedrooms, medical gloves, condoms, even space satellites. So what is the story of rubber? Most of the world's natural rubber supplies comes from the liquid latex that flows out of the barks of the Hevea brasiliensis, or the para rubber tree. It is native to the South American Amazonian forests. During the 80s-50s rubber boom, rubber were produced through a severe exploitations of slave labor along the Putumayo River in Amazon. And with the help of the British Empire, rubber found its way to the Southeast Asian capitalism economy. Since then, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand have been the three largest rubber-producing countries. The International Rubber Research Development Board estimates that 80% of the natural rubber are produced by smallholding farmers like Sucipto. In the case of Indonesia and Malaysia, the World War II and the Great Depressions of 1930s has shifted the economy from large plantations economy into smallholding sectors. As a comparative historical sociologist, I studied both text and visual materials in the archives about the Southeast Asian plantations. I also spent a lot of times in the past 2 years talking, interviewing, observing, and also living with these rubber planters in Southeast Asia. And here is what I found. A comparisons between the life story of rubber between now and then. First, the extractive methods on tapping rubber doesn't change that much. Farmers and small-holding workers, they are still using bare hands without gloves to tap this rubber out of the bark of the rubber trees, using a really humble or really minimum technology needed of knife. And not only that, the processing methods also doesn't change that much. Interestingly, in some factories that I visited in Southeast Asia, some factories are still using the exactly same machines that were being used by the companies from the 1910s. Many farmers and smallholding workers, they are still living inside of a humble shack within their plantations. And they also live with their family. Oftentimes, they use their child labor to produce rubber. These children often do not have access to proper educations or health services. And then, female workers or female smallholding planters, they continuously earned lower than their male counterparts in this industry. So how do the story of rubber help us understand a global stratification? Here is a map showing survey results of car consumptions or car usage in the world. Since most of the world rubber supplies goes to tire industry, we can also assume that this is a map showing the consumptions of rubber all over the globe. We can see that the United States, Western European countries, and Japan, they use a lot of rubbers for their cars. When we compare it with the data of who actually produce rubber, we can see that the rubber producers do not actually consume the end product of their rubber. This makes rubber as a global commodity. While car users in the United States or Western Europe find it very easy to replace their car tires, farmers in Southeast Asia continuously earn low income. If 3 rubber farmers, one from Indonesia, one from Thailand, and one from Indonesia, walk into the market to buy rice for their family by the end of the week. They will be left with only small amount of money to invest or to buy anything else. So why do Southeast Asian rubber farmers continuously earn low income despite engaging in this global economy? First, the wave of financializations from the Western Europe and the United States that hit the Southeast Asian economy in early 2000s has shifted the way rubber traded. Now, rubber is traded in the future markets, and it causes this price volatility. An unpredictable price is not good for the smallholding farmers because they cannot predict the outcome of their productions, they cannot control their productive systems. Even during the low price, these farmers try to destroy their own plantations by doing an excessive tapping of their rubber barks. This is not good for the long term because they thought they gain more income by tapping excessively, but they're just destroying their plantation. Second, smallholding rubber farmers in Southeast Asia continuously produce low quality of rubber due to a lack incentive from the market sectors to invent for innovations in the rubber processing technology. Most of the innovations in rubber processing technology monopolized by capital owners that usually comes from the urban areas. They buy rubber for these farmers for a really cheap price, the low quality of rubber, because they know using the technology that they own, these capital owners can process this low quality of rubber materials into a standardized materials of rubber for the tire industry. And lastly, smallholding farmers in Southeast Asia, particularly in Indonesia, they do not produce rubber collectively. Well, this is not a good news because a lesson learned from the Indian rubber industry, we know that by producing rubber collectively, farmers can gain better productivity and gain more income. There are many reasons why smallholding farmers do not produce their rubber collectively. It can be historical and political factors or cultural factors. And I aim to study further of these causes in my further research. Also, there has been this consistent problem of the knowledge gap. A lot of farmers do not have access to a proper knowledge, agricultural knowledge, to boost their productivity. For example, as simple as how to choose the best clones or seedlings for their plantations, or the typing methods, or the post-harvesting process. They do not have access to this technology because most of them are living in isolated region in the producing countries. Today, there have been several attempts to do a fair trade movement in rubber, and I hope all of us here will support that efforts as consumers of rubber. Finally, right now, every time you are changing your car tires or buying new mattresses for your bedrooms, I hope you all remember the unfortunate fate of rubber farmers in Southeast Asia like Suchipto. Thank you so much.